And joining us now from the Connecticut Policy Institute is Mr. Ben Zimmerman. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, thanks. How about you?
Good. Thanks for taking time to come on. Am I saying it correctly that the report that the governor's Office of Policy Management released doesn't exactly paint the clear picture in terms of Connecticut's long-term obligations?
You're saying it correctly and possibly even understating it.
Okay.
The report claims that Connecticut, under the Malloy administration, lowered its total debt burden by $11 billion, and driving that reduction, they cite what are called the other post-employment benefit liabilities, which are basically health care payments owed to retirees in the future. And they claim that those dropped by about $15 billion. But in order to get that number, they inflated the baseline they used by $4.5 billion, and then changed the accounting assumptions to get another $8.5 billion. So basically, what they claim is a $15 billion reduction is in fact only a $2 billion reduction.
Okay, and in all fairness, Senator John McKinney jumped on this right away, and protested some of these numbers. Now, without getting too far into the weeds, we know for a fact that this governor campaigned on one of his centerpiece promises was the use of GAAP, which is accounting practices that businesses have to use and other not-for-profits have to use. This wouldn't stand at all the GAAP test, would it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, these accounting practices in general in the private sector, GAAP or no GAAP, would actually be considered fraudulent. To get that $8.5 billion saving, they do an accounting maneuver that would literally be illegal for a private company to do.
Well, I know he's up for re-election. Of course, we want to put the best light on, shine the best light on the state as possible. But, I read a report the other day, Ben. We're talking with Ben Zimmerman from the Connecticut Policy Institute. I read a report the other day that said Connecticut is number one in terms of per capita debt, and we're number 3 in terms of per capita unfunded pension liability debt. So, again, we're on the wrong end of economic indicators here. I guess there's some ways that this could be turned around, and I know that you guys have talked at least about 3 of them anyway. What are some ways that this long-term could be fixed in terms of, structural attention?
Absolutely. So, there's a lot of different things you need to be doing. One of the things we've focused on is changes to the pension liabilities, which are a big driver of things. And you look there at some things you can do. One is for new employees switching to defined contribution plans, as almost everyone in the private sector has in many states.
It'd be like a 401k.
Exactly, like a 401k. So switching to that, doing things like reducing cost of living adjustments. Right now, pensioners, in addition to getting very generous pensions, Connecticut's are the highest in the country, they have cost of living adjustments in the range of 3 to 4% per year on these pensions, which far outstrips current inflation rates.
Didn't Social Security recipients just get a 1.5% increase, I think is what it came out to, the COLA? Are you familiar with that increase?
I think that's right, yeah.
So our guys are getting at least double that on a regular basis.
Exactly. And so basically ways to bring these liabilities down into more sustainable levels. And then we also have to attack, these are the pension liabilities, the debt that we owe to retirees. There's another big form of debt, which is obviously the state's bonded debt, which has also gone up in the Malloy administration, also is one of the highest in the country. And there the key that we've been focusing on is really making sure you're getting more bang for your buck. A lot of this debt financing has not been going towards investing in the state's future. It's been going towards politically motivated handouts, big public works projects that can, provide big ribbon-cutting ceremonies and the like for the governor, but you haven't seen them generating job growth and generating economic growth, which is the whole point of bonding in the first place.
But Ben, au contraire, the governor claims that his administration, their fine efforts have created 42,000 jobs.
Well, first of all, There's two different data points of how the Department of Labor measures jobs, and so that is one of their two data points. But if you compare that to the United States as a whole, during the same period, the American economy has grown about twice as many jobs. So as a percentage, since the Malloy administration took office, if you look at job growth in Connecticut and compare it to job growth in the country as a whole, it's been about half the rate.
And I don't know this, Ben, but I'm sensing that when we talk about 42,000 jobs, that's a gross number. That's not a net number, because at the same time we've had, you read it every week in the paper. There's this small company closing and moving out of Connecticut, and this small company closing and moving. So we've had a lot of jobs that have left the state entirely, and so I don't think that's a record he should run on either. What are these?
It is a net number.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Again, it's not actually an impressive number. And there's another statistic that the Department of Labor measures that shows Connecticut actually having lost jobs since Malloy took over. So, different people are kind of harp on different statistics, but however you cut it, the end result is our economy is not doing well.
It's not doing well. So when you look at things like unfunded pension liabilities, when you look at things like slow job growth, when you look at things like high debt and increasing debt because we're borrowing more, also known as bonding, that doesn't paint a bright economic picture for our future, does it?
No, I would say it certainly doesn't. And if you talk to businesses in the state, this uncertainty around the state finances is one of the reasons they're not hiring and they are moving out of state. We've already seen the largest tax hike in state history, and we're looking at, ongoing deficits going forward, very large debt levels. Unless the state kind of institutes structural changes to address this, they're going to have to raise taxes again, which is going to drive businesses and individuals out of the state even more.
Especially when you see New York State is running commercials on Connecticut saying, bring your business to New York and don't pay taxes for 10 years. That's going to hurt as well. All right, Ben Zimmerman with the Connecticut Policy Institute. Thank you for spending time with us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.